Hello. Yes, welcome. So I want to tell something about the new Robinson iPad app, which is the Catalogue app. Who am I? I'm Volker Graubaum from think so it's better. So I'm yes, a founder and CTO of eNet. I studied a little bit, and yes, we are also a member of the Chamber of Commerce for trainees and so. So who is eNet? eNet is a 2002 founded agency specialized on complex web projects, and we are developing not only Type 3 projects but also other PHP stuff and Android, iOS, and Windows Phone apps. So the project we are done together with Scholz and Friends, which is actually the leading agency in this project, and which is founded this year as an own department, started from the digital part of Scholz and Friends with 30 people right now. So, and we have built it for Robinson. Robinson is a part of the TUI family and stands for high emotional club holidays. So Robinson is more than 40 years old. They have 24 premium clubs, and yes, it's time for emotion, so they want to have emotional events and clubs. So what was the task? Bringing the digital experience of the Robinson feeling to the iPad. So we would like to have an app which is very have a lot of emotions in, and which should also help the people to decide to go to the club. So yes, we have heard we don't should write so much on charts. So just the small facts. We have some more goals. We want to have increase the number of bookings. We want to earn money, or at least Robinson wants to earn money with that. Yes, with new content, and the app should be available offline, so I can feel Robinson when I'm in my train and traveling, and get the wish to travel somewhere else. The app.
Robinson bietet jetzt noch mehr mit der Robinson Winterkatalog iPad App. Alles ganz einfach und inspirierend auf einen Blick. Hier findest du deinen Traumclub und kannst ihn schon auf dem iPad bis ins letzte Detail genießen. Hast du mehrere Favoriten? Kein Problem. Einfach vergleichen und deinen Traumclub in einem TUI-Reisebüro in deiner Nähe buchen. Beginn jetzt deinen Robinson-Urlaub schon zu Hause. Mit der Robinson Katalog-App. Intuitiv, interaktiv, individuell. Jetzt im App Store.
So, yes. What you've seen is that the app tries to go new ways in navigation and feeling, bringing the individual holidays which you can have in the Robinson clubs to the iPad app. So on the first screen we have a grid system. We've seen it around the iPad, so you can scroll over the pad and see clubs and see other elements there. A club has a lot of elements. You can see everything on one view. You can see the climate, but you can also have information like a club finder and how the club is located, what you can do there, having the elements. Is it a sport club or is it a family club? So, yes, they have a really nice search in it. You can say in which country you want to go. You can say, is it for sports? Is it for families and all the stuff. And we've seen the favorite function, so you can say I have a lot of favorites, and then I can compare them to decide finally. Yes. You can find the travel agencies. You get additional information like it's in the top 10 of all Robinson agencies. Yes. You can see we are here right now, and so we have an agency not far away, the 46 and the 47, but we have also some of the top agencies in Germany not far away. And yes, a user should know how to handle new things. So we explained how to navigate in this app, what you can do and what the icons do. Yes, so the app was the main goal, but we as the technical agency, we have some real tasks to solve. So not only making the things beautiful, but in the project, and I think that's what's interesting for you, we have some elements to solve. We have first the concept. So we have had to have a really good concept, but there was some elements in which wasn't thought about. So for example, the ideas how to filter the clubs was nice and the customer liked it, but it was not what we have as a data structure for the clubs. So when you look in the Catalogue, and that's the Robinson iPad Catalogue app, then you can see other information as you have in the original in the concept. So yes, that was one mistake, and there you can learn to talk more in the beginning and have a look what data we have, and include the technical agencies very early. Yes, communication is one topic we have every time. So we have a few involved persons here. We had the main agency, we had agency leader and Scholz and Friends, and we have the customer who has ideas, and we have the technical agencies, and in our case we have an additional developer who wasn't in our office, so we have a few levels of communication paths, and yes, that's a thing you have to solve, where you have to bring the people together as often as possible and as early as possible. That's a very important thing. Yes, and there was a lot of technical stuff we have to solve. So when we started the project, we know, oh, there are some external data we have to import. We have all the information about the clubs, about the agencies, and so you just can import them, and you can import files and all the stuff. But yes, then we get some files, and we have the information about the clubs, and we have some information about the files, but we don't have the information which elements belongs together. So because the export don't know that. Yeah, that's I think mainly a problem when you are thinking about developing apps is you often only think about the app itself, and yes, it has to be beautiful and it has to be nice, and you have to think about how it works. But most of the people forgot to think about the data you want to display in that context, and where did you get the data, and how do you work with the customer. So another topic was the export. So we have a lot of data. We have films and videos about the clubs. We have a lot of images, and especially for the new iPad with the Retina displays, the size is really big. And how did the customer feels good when downloading all the information, where we had to learn that maybe it's not the best idea to download directly all information, but start with the basic information and download the videos on demand, and only maybe in Wi-Fi. Yes, and we have, since we have not a really good import of data and don't get the information very well, we need a backend. We have very complex information about the clubs. We have tables, and we have a very deep information structure. So what do we use? We are using fal, for example, for the images. A lot of people are saying fal isn't working very well, and fal is, people are making discussions about fal, but in our case, we are using fal, and it's working pretty well. Yeah, building some tables in the backend. You can work with some nice icons, so the editor can feel what he has to do and can edit the data very easily. Some arrow elements. We have the summer and the winter. That's maybe some special thing. You have very independent catalogs. You have even independent clubs. Not all clubs offer things in the winter, and not all winter clubs are offering anything in the summer. So yes, you have new, very different information, and yes, that's normal content editing. But we still had to build some modules. We have an importer, which is quite easy, so it's not a very big task. But what we have to build is very fancy backend module for the grid element on the starting page. So we had a lot of clubs here. We have some information about activities, mountain biking, dancing, and so on. So that you can directly filter, and you want to move them smooth. So just grab an element, and you can see, okay, I'm allowed to place these elements at these places, and so they have the possibility to change the elements. Yes. So. Okay. 1 second. So what we see here is that we have a lot of information in that system, but we try to make the loading for the customer very smooth. So we have a lot of big data in this system, and if the customer is loading everything new when something changed, it's quite hard. So we have a backend export module where you can, which are exporting some JSON files, and they added information about which content has changed. So the app can compare, okay, this images has changed and this elements have changed, so they only load new data and don't have to load the old data. So that was a very important task. And since, for example, you're using fal, and fal is an element ID for the image, you have to be sure that you know that the file has changed. So we have to go to the timestamp of the typo3 element and so on. When we are going, when we have a look at the app, we have seen some static elements in to have a quick and a fast user experience, but we have a lot of HTML elements additional to that, so that the customer can be flexible with what content did he display. We have the structure, which is fixed. We have the images, which are all used native, but we have, for example, some elements where we can include edge and make some really interesting animation without that we have to change something at the app. So that's maybe some really interesting thing where you have to know if you're talking about web apps or mobile apps or native apps. I think having a good mixture between those both elements are very important. So having the flexibility from a content management system, but the feeling of an app. Yes. Okay. So that's for the talk. So if you have any questions, then you can ask now. Du bist Deutsch?